Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today we are here to talk about self-sabotage. Now, when I talk about self-sabotage, you have to factor in, self-love, interconnectedness, connecting with your higher self. That is how you can combat self-sabotage. I think that anybody that has watched any of my videos or is in the spiritual awakening state acknowledges that self love and identifying with your true self is how you weaken that fear-based ego, aka self-sabotage. I think most of us know that already. But I think it goes a whole lot deeper than that too. Because our 3D circumstances have a large impact on how we view ourselves, how we see ourselves. Based on your childhood, based on the parents that you grew up with, based on how your parents raised you, or how your parents treated you, or how your parents viewed you, and how teachers have treated you, or how other kids at school treated you, or you've had a lot of traumatizing events happen in your life. You've had a lot of change. You've had a lot of unpredictable circumstances that have happened to you that that at the time you kind of felt like were completely out of your control, and so that affects that fear-based ego to the point where you do self-sabotage, to where you do put yourself down, and you completely ignore yourself and act as though those things never happened to you, those things never occurred. You didn't actually have bad parents. You didn't actually have parents that treated you badly. You just dismiss that as, oh well, that's just how parents are. That's how their parents treated them. That's how their parents raised them. So what makes me so special? What makes me any different? Just typical dismissive, gaslighting statements that you'll make towards yourself in order to avoid the pain and the mistreatment, and all the different ways that you self-sabotage and are just completely mean, belittling, and don't really have that much faith in who you are, stems a lot from your 3D circumstances. Now, it doesn't just have to just come from childhood. It could be certain things that happen to you as an adult. It could be relationships that fell apart, friendships, a romantic relationship, a marriage. Maybe just recently you lost a lot of money. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you lost your apartment. Maybe you lost your house. Maybe you've had just many different things that if you try to go to any kind of spiritual or manifestation coach. I mean, even if you go to like a therapist or a pastor and they tell you that you're the problem and that you're the one that's at fault here, and that you're the one that is self-sabotaging you, and you are your own worst enemy, which in a way is true, but you have to take into consideration all the different things that happen to you in your life, which are not your fault. The only way that you can ever self-sabotage, as they say, is by continuing to fault yourself and to blame yourself and to hate yourself for all the different things that happen to you. You know, all the different mistakes that you've made throughout your life, all the bad financial decisions that you made, all the bad relationships that you had that you kind of felt like were your own fault. To be honest, if you really were honest with who you are, you would say that you didn't really have much of a choice. You didn't really, you just went with what you knew at the time. You were just doing the best that you could with the knowledge that you were given. You were just doing the best that you could with what you were programmed to think or believe at the time, right? Whether that was your parents, whether that was your teachers, whether that was a pastor, or whether that was a therapist or a friend, or an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend or an ex-spouse, whoever it was in your life that had a large influence on who you were, whatever they taught you, or whatever different methods they tried to use to sabotage you, or to put you down, or to keep you locked in to some kind of belief, or into some kind of ideology, or into some kind of structure. You really only went based off of what you thought that you had to believe, or what you thought that you had to think. So in a way, even as an adult, I know I've said in the past how everything that happens to you or doesn't happen to you past the age of 18 is completely your fault. If you guys have heard me say that in the past, I just want to go ahead and give you permission. Not that you need my permission, but I'm going to go ahead and just give you permission to just completely ignore that, because that was actually bad advice, what I gave at the time. Again, I was just going based off of what I knew at the time. I was just going along to get along, in a sense, which is why, if I'm being totally honest with you, most of the videos that I did in the past, even videos that I did like 3 or 4 months ago, don't really resonate with me anymore, because I've changed so much. I've done a lot of spiritual work on myself. I have really taken these last few weeks to really get to know who I am on the inside, who I am internally, who I am as a soul, stuck inside this body. If you've heard me say that, just know, you have my permission to just completely ignore what I said, because that's not necessarily true. It's even, I'm sure some of you guys might be familiar with the book The Power of Now, written by Eckhart Tolle. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Eckhart Tolle, or Eckhart Tolle, or whatever it is. But he states in the book that, or no, actually, I don't think it's in the book Power of Now directly. I think it was in an interview that Dave Rubin did with him on his podcast like 5 years ago, where he talked about choice, or how you have free will. But you don't actually have free will until you can become truly conscious of who you are. Until you can do that, then you don't really have free will, meaning you don't really have much of a choice about all of the past mistakes, all of the past decisions that you've made in your life, because you were completely unaware. You were completely entrenched in the system that you were taught to believe your whole life. And so, in a way, there's not really any such thing as self-sabotage. The only way that you can ever self-sabotage, as it were, is as if you are completely aware of who you are and all the struggles and all the hurt that you've been holding on to, and refuse to do nothing about it. And you continue to blame yourself. You continue to blame everybody else, and there's really nothing to do. There's really nowhere to go with that, and so you just feel stuck. You just feel like you're in chains, like you are not free. And that is the truth. You are not going to be truly free until you can be fully conscious and aware of who you are on the inside, who you truly are. Not what your parents told you not what your parents told you you were, not what your teachers told you were, or what anybody in your life have told you. Do not listen, do not take the 3D reality seriously. Do not take what anybody says seriously unless they have some really good advice to give. Unless it could really benefit you in a huge way. Other than that, I would say just keep marching to the beat of your own drum. Keep living your life. Continue to be fully aware. You don't have to be hyper vigilant about it. You don't have to be obsessive about it, but just continue to be aware of some of the things that you might be struggling with still. Some of the things that might be keeping you stuck, right? That's all this really is. It's just being aware. You don't have to pick on yourself. You don't have to judge yourself. You don't have to try to be perfect. Just be totally and fully aware of who you are and what you're doing and what you're saying at any given time. And that is the path to true free will. That is the path to true inner peace. That is the cure for self-sabotage. It is not trying to go and get external validation from other people. It's not to try to get compliments from other people, although that does help. There's nothing wrong with compliments. There's nothing wrong with, people wanting to help. But, actively searching out in the 3D world, for external validation from your parents or from, friends, or from a therapist or from a pastor is not only is it not going to help you, but in some way it might be making it worse for you, because you're not really looking at the problem. You're not really, because other people are going to tell you different things from their own viewpoint and from their own perspective, right? And it might not always align with you. It might not always resonate with you, because we are all one soul, but we are all completely different souls, if that makes sense. And so, people are going to tell you different things, and people are only going to tell you are only going to give you advice based off of what they know at the time, or what they are subconsciously aware of at the time. So it's best to just follow your own intuition. It is best to just accept yourself for who you are, where you are at the current moment, whatever that is, wherever you're at emotionally, spiritually, financially, is exactly where you should be. And it is exactly where you should meet yourself. Because continuing to deny and to put it off and to cast it aside is only going to make the problem worse, not better. So that is how you can be truly consciously aware, to the point where you're going to start to sabotage yourself less and less and less and less as time goes on. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this message, and if it did, share it with your friends and your family. Subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions or whatever you have for me. I'd be happy to listen and read through the comments. But other than that, have a great day. I will talk to you again soon.